Good Wednesday afternoon to you. Roger Hillo, Weathering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. This VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook. We're going to start with the trough of lower pressure that is now advancing to our east and pulling away. It's allowing for these very subtle ridges of higher pressure. You can see just a tiny ridge that's kind of moving in, clearing things out, and our lane, if you will, at 500 hectopascal thicknesses is basically coming out of the northwest or west-northwest, kind of north of the Great Lakes, and it continues to bring an influx of actually cooler than normal conditions. This has been suppressing thunderstorm activity, and just to show you the dew point temperatures, it's been relatively low dew points and dry humidity, low humidity kind of days. Those much more muggy conditions are off to the south and west across a good portion of the country east of the Rockies. But on occasion, you do get the shortwave troughs that move on through, and it does produce a little bit of shower activity, and this has basically been the pattern. Looking at the incremental models, you have the European deterministic on the left. We have the GFS ensemble, or the GUSTS, on the right. This is our weather system that's exited, brought us about, my location, about 0.6 of an inch of rainfall, much needed rainfall. It was dry as a bone before that. It has now moving away, and just a little leftover sprinkles or light rain showers. That's pretty much all finished. And the GFS ensemble, rather, is only pops up every 3 hours in the shorter term, but that'll change eventually as I go along. But we are looking at high pressure building in with some dry, fine weather. You can see this area of higher pressure. It's going to be kind of advancing and then sitting over us for a pretty fine day on Thursday. In fact, very good project weather. By the time we get into Friday, though, and that is Thursday, by the time we get into Friday, we're going to see this shortwave trough that's up here. And again, colder than normal pattern. Once again, when you see the 5,400 meter thickness showing up in blue, that means it's cold enough to snow. That's well to the north of our region, but needless to say, it's not that far. And consequently, we're going to see this shortwave trough push on in. This is valid at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and that's going to continue to move across and just bring us some very light precipitation, really not a big deal. And then this area of higher pressure north of the Great Lakes is going to build south and east, and that's going to be the name of the game for what looks to be 3 days of dry weather. And thus, this weather, this outlook period is looking very, very good for manpower to take time off and this kind of thing. So just a heads up on that. But when it changes is when we start to see these shortwave troughs come in a little bit more. By that time, we're looking at a warmer than normal temperature pattern here with the Bermuda high kind of controlling an influx of warm, humid conditions. And then we have this system here that's going to be pushing in along about Tuesday into Wednesday. That's after the forecast period. Now let's compare notes with the GFS ensemble centered on Montpelier's grid. And what we can see here, this is 3-hourly QPF, so we're coming out of that rain. And not a whole lot to show here, just a little bit of minor minutia here. This would be for Friday, and then another drying out of 3 days, and then the business that's beyond the outlook period. What about total QPF? It looks like this. Not looking at it very much in the way of precip. This is a ½ inch, 1 inch amounts. So you can see that things are kind of lower than normal in terms of precipitation. Also looking at precipitable water. This is 1.2 coming out of that. We're drying out now. And the next uptick is going to be roughly about 1 inch. That's below normal. And then a significant rise once we get into the parts of, it looks like, next week. And looking at convective available potential energy, or CAPE, right now, not a lot to show. And it's not until we get into that much warmer period we're going to start to see much stronger updrafts. So once we get into approximately Monday and then beyond that, I think we're going to get into more thunderstorms at that point in time. But boy, between now and then, it's pretty slim pickings and good time to take some time off, I think. Now looking at Cape over shear, that really tells a good story. So winds aloft are right up there, but there's no Cape, so not anything to worry about. Now, where you did see the Cape, that's again beyond this outlook period. So just looking back at that, this is on the 12th and into the 13th and so forth. So looking at shear, you're looking at 35 to 40 knots. Yeah, that could produce some impacts. So after this outlook period, we're starting to see the return of thunderstorms that could cause us some impacts. Weather Prediction Center, 7-day total quantitative precipitation forecast, QPF, or accumulated totals, only around 1/4 of an inch. You can see that. To the north there, 1 inch. It mounts up in the blue here, a 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch down around Bennington County in the southwest corner of the state, and so on and so forth. But this is our dry slot, if you will. And with cooler than normal temperatures kind of cutting in like this has been the case, and that's where Vermont is for our current temperature anomalies. This is our next 5 days of high temperatures, meteorological output statistics, or MOS, and we're running about 3 degrees below normal weighted through this period. And then looking about 3 days later than this, we're a little bit more around neutral, still a little bit cooler to our north and northwest. Atlantic Hurricane Basin tropics are all quiet. And this is a great tool here, looking at the European ensemble, tropical cyclone formation, and whatnot. So as we run these, you can see that it's a Pacific Coast deal. Nothing to worry about. The Atlantic Hurricane Basin looks real good. Something may flare up over the Gulf Stream, but out to sea, and it would head further off to the north with this big high pressure center. This is called the Azores High, not quite the Bermuda High yet, but we will start to see that develop at some point. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.